So, sir, should we begin? I
Sure,
think,
we can
yeah.
start.
So I'll just start with a brief introduction, and because if people here in India would be, wanting to know something. So, good evening, everybody in India, and good morning to people in the States there. Welcome to our platform. It's a knowledge sharing portal called iMasterG. And today we are obliged and grateful to Dr. Anand, who's joined us. He is an associate professor of medicine at the University of Missouri, Columbia since 2006. His major research emphasis is stress, cardiomyopathy, mental stress, and holistic intervention with over 65 original publications. He gives invited lectures over international conferences. He features regularly on TV, radio, and print media to increase awareness about heart health. He has pioneered a huge Heartful Living cardiac wellness program, both in US and India, for improving health using self-inquiry methods. Over the last 5 years, hundreds of heart patients have gained insight and confidence through the 8-week course. And we are highly grateful again for Dr. Anand for gracing knowledge sharing portal iMasterG. Welcome, sir.
Thanks so much for inviting me. I have to thank my very good friend, Dr. Rachna Balaji, a dentist
Yes.
who spoke about chakra meditation a couple of weeks ago and connected me with your friends and family as well. So I'm
Yes.
taking this opportunity to connect with you and at the same time connect with several of my own friends and patients that I take care of. So I'm going to request everyone to mute yourself
Yes.
so that at the best way this forum will work is if we stay on mute till I finish and then we can open it up for question answers.
Right.
Okay. So today I've invited several of my friends, patients, colleagues here in the US also, so that at the end of this 40 minutes of slides and presentation, they can also share their personal experiences, how their life journey has evolved in the last 5 years after participating in this self-inquiry program. So I'll go ahead and start the slideshow and we'll open it up for questions at the end of it. You see the full screen? I guess someone has to unmute to make sure we see the full screen. The slides, is it full screen for everybody? Suchi?
I just see you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a blank, sir. We cannot see anything, Abhi.
Okay.
No, I don't see anything.
Yes, now we can see the screen, the computer screen.
The blue screen.
Now,
There we go. Now I see it.
Yeah.
I see it now.
is it complete? The full slideshow you see? The full slide?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So today is close to a month from the completion of our 7-week Hilife journey. June and July, we had 7 sessions where we discussed several aspects, including fasting, exercise, stress control, meditation. For 7 weeks, we discussed and practiced several things that help optimize heart health for healthy people and to recover at our own control and confidence so that we can overcome cardiac problems. This has worked for people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s to help come off 20 out of 22 heart medications. So this really works and we have seen amazing results over the last 5 years. So that's what I'm presenting, not just my experience, but that of my patients and colleagues over the last 5 years. So today we are going to summarize and discuss intermittent fasting, just simple tips how to make this work in our day-to-day life and how it might potentially help us in the long term. My disclosure is hilifejourney.org. This is a online not-for-profit that we have started since COVID began, so that we can reach effectively more people anywhere in the world. And this we have designed as a self-help tool. People can sign up, learn a little bit more about their own health, risk assessment, and over 3 months track themselves and see how much improvement they have made for themselves to gain more confidence. So today we will touch upon modern eating. What is health span? Like lifespan, it is something slightly different. How does fasting work? And what are the simple ways to implement it? So I brought a lot of pictures here together, some from India, some from the US. I guess everything is now available in India, all these fancy drinks too. So this is again some Indian, South Indian, North Indian food that you see. So which is healthy in all these pictures that I've just shown you? Some more pictures. Very few choices that I'm showing you here are really, really helping our health. That is what is the message. So if you look at mindful eating, some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this concept. We want to stay just around the green zone. When we start feeling hungry at about number 4 level of hunger, we should eat and stop when we are at 7, when we are just satisfied. If we overeat and feel uncomfortable and stuffed, that's not good, going into the red zone. And then if we wait until we get very hungry and start feeling jittery and dizzy and starving, then if we eat, we will tend to overeat. So mindful eating means being aware of hunger at the early stage and eating the right amount, with the ensuring that we don't overeat, so that we can stay between 4 and 7. This concept is really helpful for people who are ideal body weight, which is below 25 for most of the world. But if you are Indian, Asian, our BMI should be below 22. So that is a very strict criteria. 22 for Asian Indians and 25 for most other races in the world. So what about people who want to lose a few pounds? What about people who need to lose 100 pounds, 50 kilos? For them, this 4 to 7 mindfulness eating scale may not work. They have to learn how to stay hungry, be comfortable with it, and regain the health over months. Sometimes it may take even years. That is no shortcut. There is no magic pill that we are suggesting for anybody here. What will happen if you get hungry, very hungry, if you feel dizzy? Will we faint? Will we lose our life if we don't put food into our body? That is the real question. So this is in our corridor as I walk into my hospital where we take care of heart patients. So if we get hungry or if our patients get hungry, this is the choices available. Several drinks, several snacks. And if you read the bottom line, they say, snack smart, snack now, and snack well. Of these snacks, which are the healthy ones? The answer is again the same thing. It's hard to find healthy snacks. So when I talk to my heart patients, I look them in the eye and tell them, no snacking. Snacks are by themselves not healthy. Anything that tastes good is unhealthy, so be careful. So it's that level of caution we need to have if we really, really are interested in our own health. This is the reason. United States, 1 in 3 deaths, even in the COVID world, is still because of heart disease. This kills 3 to 5 times more people in 2020 compared to the COVID pandemic. This is America's costliest disease, costing over $500 billion in 2016 and more than $1 trillion likely in the next 15 years. So this is a real concern. Heart disease, what we all need to remember, both as patients, healthy people, and also as doctors, is this concept. Despite this being the biggest killer, 9 out of 10 heart attacks can be prevented just by lifestyle. What do we mean by this lifestyle? Eating right, avoiding cigarettes, getting about 20 to 30 minutes of some exercise, reasonable amount of walking, and controlling blood pressure and diabetes. That's all it takes to prevent 9 out of 10 heart attacks. The United States spends now close to about 20% of its GDP, of its entire productivity, just on ensuring health of its citizens. Much of the Western world spends about half of that, about 10 to 12%. What about India? We spend less than 4% of our GDP on healthcare. So this is a big challenge. The amount of financial resources available to ensure our health. Now we move on to health span or healthy life expectancy. Life expectancy plus the number of years that we are really healthy. That's what we are looking at. This has significantly increased by close to 10% in the last 2 decades, from 59 world over now to about 63 years. India is still averaging 59 years. USA is 10 years longer. So if you're born in the United States, on average, you can expect 69 years of healthy living. Singapore is among the best in the world at 76 years. On top of that, there are some blue zones. You just have to Google blue zones and you will find there are people living not 50, 60, 70, but 80, 90, even 100 years on an average. Everybody living into their 90s and 100 years of age without going to old age homes, and they are all healthy and productive all the way through their last days. So how do these blue zones work? What is their magic? They are separated by several oceans and cultures. Some are in Los Angeles, Loma Linda, Seventh-day Adventist. Some are in Costa Rica. Some are in Sardinia, it's an island in Italy, and Okinawa in Japan. It's another place where there is no modern gadget, high-end technologies, bypass and stenting available, or 911 where an ambulance, helicopter comes to rescue us. No, all these are hardy places for the most part, where people live still, I would say, primitive type of life where they have to work physically to hunt or to fish or to do agriculture to get food on their plates. So that is one of the main reasons why they move naturally. They don't exercise for 30 minutes in the gym and they don't have Fitbit or a step counting on their smart devices, but they are getting to physically move just to survive. And they feel that connection with the people that they grew up with, they relate with as their own community. And they have a chance to relax every day. At sunset, they have few hours to chill. And that's how their life works. And they eat wisely, by which they don't stuff themselves. It's hard to get food to survive, so there's no question of overeating for the most part. And as a habit, they drink plenty of water and still have some empty space in their stomach, so they never overeat. And they have a little, mostly plant-based diet, maybe a little bit of wine. So all these things put together, we feel, makes them outlive the most modern Western civilizations. Overall, world over, this is what World Health Organization recommends. Predominantly carbohydrate-based food, which is about two-thirds of what we eat, 10% protein, 10% fat, and over 400 grams of fruits and vegetables every day. Free sugars means empty calories, sometimes is a word we use. All the packaged snacks, chips, ice cream, cookies, donuts, all the delicious Indian sweets that we have grown up with, all these things have plenty of added sugars. So this is what we really have to restrict significantly just to stay healthy. This is not recommendations for people who are trying to lose weight, who are trying to deal with a heart attack or bypass surgery and a dilated cardiomyopathy or any other heart trouble. This is just to stay healthy. If you're already very healthy, this is what people are supposed to be eating. On average, this is from the US guidelines. Women need 2000 calories when they are active and healthy. Men, 2500 calories daily. However, unfortunately, in the last 30 years, this has crept up to over 3,600 calories on average, which is nearly twice as much as we need in the United States. This is unfortunately the truth in urban India as well. This is the reason. In 1950, if you look at fast food restaurants, they were serving French fries, burgers, and soda. They are still serving it now, but look at the portion size for the single individual portions. They've gone up substantially. It's not like human beings have grown suddenly in the last 2 or 3 generations, but unfortunately, this is what is happening to what we can say is consumer-driven fast food culture and just the pace of life. This is an important takeaway message. We talk about height, weight, body mass index, but the simplest thing to look at might be just the waist circumference. For most of the world, men should be below 40 inches and women below 35 inches. If you are born in India, unfortunately, men cannot have any more than 35 inches, women not more than 31 inches to reduce the risk for long-term cardiac and vascular complications, metabolic problems like diabetes, polycystic ovarian syndrome, hypertriglyceridemia, a lot of other things. But big picture is kidney failure, heart failure, stroke, and now the long-term concern, even if you control all these things over decades with medicines, the risk of dementia in our 60s and 70s is a real problem. They are labeling dementia, Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes because it's becoming so ubiquitous as populations tend to live longer. So what is the ideal body fat percentage? This you need a sophisticated tool, but even that is available in a lot of rec centers and gymnasiums all over the big cities where you can gauge the percentage of your body that is made up of fat. If it is below 15%, they say it is ideal for men, below 25% ideal for women. Even thin, healthy looking people tend to have a little more fat than this. If you're an Olympic athlete or a world level tennis player like Federer or Djokovic, your body fat percentage is likely to be about 10 or 12%. But everybody else tends to be closer to 20 or 30%. Even if you look and have other parameters in the normal range, including waist circumference. So this is the program we have now had for the last 5 years, Heartful Living. What we done is condensed much of that into online program where we talk about diet, exercise, meditation, altruism, and how we put all of this together in 7 weeks. We've done this in June and July. The reason I present this after completion is because this entire 1 hour times 7, so 7 hours of lectures are available for free if you go to hilifejourney.org. You just have to create a account and answer about 20 questions in about 2 to 5 minutes so that you get a baseline for yourself, where you stand in your level of anxiety, depression, mindfulness, and physical health parameters like high blood pressure and cardiac risk. These sort of answers, once you put in there, you can have all these lectures available to you, and you can see how people have experienced this journey in the last 5 years, how much improvements they've had. So that's what I'm showing here. It increases not only your risk from heart problems, but also increases resilience towards life itself, like COVID, and the novel exercise ideas. People have stopped 20 out of 22 medications without going through any fancy pills or gastric bypass surgery. People have lost 10 to 20% weight, and they feel honestly 10 years, sometimes 20 years younger than their actual age. And the biggest promise is this entire program is effortless. Once you connect with your own, what I would say, your subconscious, and you gain that confidence out of your own life itself. So that's the way I've been able to motivate and encourage my heart patients in their 70s and 80s to adopt these, I would say, life-changing but simple, very simple and realistic tools. So to summarize what that is, we request everybody to give the body 14 hours food-free interval. So if you finish your dinner at 7 p.m. and brush your teeth, don't have anything until 9 a.m. This is the thing that most people, even if you are a type 1 diabetic, you should be able to do this. So 14 hours is fine for everybody above the age of 10 years. And the simplest clue to this is gratitude. What are you grateful for in life? What do you really value? So once you have certain things that make sense to you and you value in life, it might be your family, it might be your work, it might be anything, maybe fishing or golfing, whatever it is, that should give you the strength to do this 14 hours. On top of it, once a week, we recommend up to 18 to 24, sometimes even 36 hours, where we drink only water and no food at all. So every picture that you saw, all the fast food, junk food, even the regular fruits and vegetables, you can avoid. Everything you can stop, just water. Tap water is sufficient. So for India, you may be doing RO water, whatever it is, just water is sufficient for that once a week, longer fast. And there are so many health benefits of that. I don't know if we will have all the time to go through too much details today. So I invite you to participate in the 7-week program. It's at your own time, at your own home. It's available to you on YouTube for you to go over the more details. Now the exercise or yoga or some aerobic activity for 30 minutes every day we all need, where we push our body a little bit, every time a little bit more. If you are 50s, 60s and you've never exercised, still you can try slowly 5-10 minutes and gradually work towards 30 minutes. The important thing is you should be aware of how much you're pushing yourself. You should be able to smile. The smile is a tricky thing. People say, Doc, I'm busy. Let me retire from my work. Then I will start smiling. But we say smile 20 times every hour, including the time that you're exercising. When we say smile, we really mean relaxing and feeling that what I would say is connection at a deeper level. So this really allows you to cope with life's stresses in whatever physical, mental, emotional form that we may have to experience as life progresses. If you can smile when you're exercising, it really opens you up to a deeper level of self-awareness. The third thing is self-talk, which is like talking aloud or listening to yourself for 1 or 2 minutes. Whatever thoughts come in your mind is fine. It might be pleasant, it might be motivating, but it might be negative thoughts. Will I get COVID? Will I make it through this 2020? Whatever it is, talk it aloud and then just observe what you're talking. And after that, spend about 5 to 10 minutes sitting in silence. Whatever thoughts come, try to gently bring your attention from the thought back to being silent, and you can sit down with your breath. Just listen or observe your breathing. That's all it is. It's not a very difficult meditation that we are requesting. 5 to 10 minutes of sitting quietly. And the last thing is altruism. In 1 to 5 minutes, if out of your routine day, spend 1 minute extra to make someone else happy. That someone else preferably should not know who is doing this act of kindness or helping them. Just make them feel welcome in this world. That's all it is. And if you don't even get thanked for your kindness, very good chance you will internalize that compassion for the people around you, and equally or even more importantly, compassion towards yourself. You will start trusting yourself at a deeper level. So that's what it is. This slide I don't have the time to really go through, but I did the research because in this modern world we have the luxury of looking back at our past millions of years, thanks to archaeology and prehistoric studies that is available now. We know how we evolved. And to summarize this, 5 million years ago, we were eating only fruits, nuts, and basically we were all vegetarian. But then we started eating a little bit of meat. Once we gained control over fire, we started processing meat. We still cannot eat meat raw. We need to process it a little bit with fire. So this has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. And this has allowed us to expand to extreme temperatures where we don't easily get access to fresh fruits or nuts. And only in the last 10,000 years, we've been doing agriculture by which we have very, very high density carbohydrates available to us in the form of rice, wheat, corn, and maize. So all these things allow us to move towards much more advanced civilizations in our cities where we develop cultures, languages, religions, all that we know of as modern world happened because of what happened 10,000 years ago in the form of agriculture that freed us from searching for food all day long. Before that, we were spending 6 to 8 hours every day munching on fruits and vegetables. We just don't have that much time anymore. So the fasting that we're going to talk about from here on is not meant for children below the age of 10 years. It's not meant for people who have bulimia, anorexia, any other eating disorders, people who are pregnant, insulin requiring type 1 diabetics. And if you have low body weight, BMI below 20, this is not easy to do and it's not recommended. So when we say fasting, what we mean is from the moment we finish a meal, we are fasting. So the word fasting means we drink water alone and 0 calories. Any type of fat, carbohydrate, protein that we consume breaks the fast. So in the first several hours, there is food in our stomach that is supplying energy for our body. That stops in about 3 to 5 hours. After that, the body continues to draw uh, energy from the liver. Many of us don't stop at 3 to 5 hours. Unfortunately, people who are eating 2 or 3 meals 40 years ago have now developed a culture of eating every 2 to 3 hours. So we are not letting the stomach get empty at all. So that's a big challenge. But if we stop eating for more than 5 hours, the liver will start supplying energy to the body. It will break down the glycogen stores and provide glucose for us to perform for about 12 to 15 hours. At the end of 12, 14 hours after the last meal, so if I had breakfast at 8 a.m. today, by about 8 p.m. tonight, my liver will be exhausted of all its glycogen stores. And then I have a chance of entering into ketosis. So that is natural fat burning as a tool to supply enough nutrition for the body to do all its basic work. So even if I'm just sitting around watching television, I still need a lot of energy just to stay alive, for the heart to beat, for the body systems to work, for my body temperature to be maintained at the appropriate level. So for all that, once the liver is depleted, the body starts burning fat. So this is what the whole message of today's discussion is. So this is very, very healthy, and our body is well tuned to adapt to that. And that's how our ancestors evolved over millions of years. So this, I'm going to skip. So for the beginners, 12 hours of fasting is okay. Advanced people can go to 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours a day fasting on most days. So even that is physically healthy. So what is this self-inquiry that we talk about? The word Zen comes from India, dhyana. And what it is what is life about? What is the purpose of my existence? That sort of higher uh, search is self-inquiry. But at the most basic level that can be applied to anybody at any age, anywhere in the world, is the simple question. Today, can I do without this food? What is the least amount of food that I need to put in my body so that I can do everything I want to accomplish? That is the most simple self-inquiry question. Our father of the nation said, I believe there is no prayer without fasting, and there is no real fast without prayer. God comes to the hungry in the form of food. So why don't we welcome God by staying a little more hungry every day? That is my invitation to you. A simple fast can be 12 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, once a week, up to 24 hours, or even 36 hours, we feel is got numerous health benefits. So we talked about fasting. So there, for the first couple of months, you will experience this extreme levels of fatigue and anxiety and shivering and things like that. But if you smile, relax, drink plenty of water, and hopefully you're not doing some athletic event or pushing your body or working hard or putting yourself at risk. If you're on a day off, if you try fasting for longer hours, you will slowly learn how the body switches from liver burning glycogen to ketosis, where the fat burning starts. So that is what is natural ketosis. So initially, you will learn how to move from scale of 1 to level of about 4 or 5. But over months of fasting, you will learn easily to switch out at about 3, you will come out. So you will not reach 2 and 1 ever again for weeks together without food. So the body is so well adapted after a few weeks of learning how to fast. Yesterday in my clinic, I met 3 patients who confessed, yes, doc, all my life I've been struggling with emotional eating. I've been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and food helps me stay calm. So for them, it is so challenging to lose weight. For me, luckily, all my life, up to 45 years of my age, my parents both being doctors, I thought I was very healthy, but I was a habitual eater. What I mean by that is, I had to go to school, to medical college, and then practice as a cardiologist. For that, I ate by the clock for convenience, and I followed a discipline: breakfast at 8, lunch at 12, dinner at 7 p.m. And eating was, I wouldn't say waste of time, but eating was something that was necessary. And I thought I was very healthy. I was never obese. But even this habitual eating is not the ideal state. For us to physically attain the best level of health, I would now say that connecting with our physical hunger not only is healthy for the body, but it is also extremely healthy for our mind to prevent long-term degenerative problems like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's dementia, but also for our spirit. It gives us so much mental energy. If we can wait till we are physically hungry for any food to go into our body. This is a little inconvenient. Sometimes if I'm working, taking care of patients, what will I do if I'm a little hungry? A lot of times I now have the confidence that if I am hungry, my body will automatically switch through to natural ketosis. Even if I am playing a 2-hour tennis match, hunger is not an issue. As long as I have sufficient water and I can ensure, because we need water to go into ketosis. Otherwise, the body cannot switch metabolism to ketosis easily. So if your religion says fast without water, I would ask you to be extremely careful with that and avoid physical exertion. But if your religion is not forcing you to stop water, then I would invite you to take plenty of water, especially on days that you're fasting. So this allows us to open ourselves to even healthier foods that we thought that we don't like in the past. And this hunger goes away with any healthy food. And finally, you will find that you can eat and feel grateful for the food. In all these forms of habitual eating, emotional craving, you are always left feeling, I would say, guilty after food. Food is not meant to make us guilty. It is meant to enrich us, make us feel alive. So that level of connection with food and mindfulness naturally settles into our life once we connect with being hungry. So hunger is the key to engage better with food and to celebrate eating itself. So once you start experiencing fasting, these are the real benefits you will have. If you have a fear of COVID, which everybody should, even if you experienced COVID in the last few months, there is a risk for recurrence of this, to boost the immune system, to reduce risk of diabetes, and if you are already a diabetic, to reduce the risk of complications, to control weight, to gain heart health if you are already a heart patient, or if there is some family member who deals with heart issues and you want to avoid heart problems. And also, people who have cancer or who are at risk because of family members, or anybody who hopes to live into their 70s, 80s, 90s, hundreds. Anybody who wishes a healthy, long life, we have to be able to reduce our risk of cancer, which increases significantly over aging. So all these risks are significantly reduced if we can engage in intermittent fasting. So what is intermittent fasting? 0 calories, only water, and being comfortable with it for beyond how many hours? 8 hours, 10 hours, ideally 14 hours on most days, 6 days of the week. And then one day in the week, if you can go to 24 hours, that would be perfect. Again, I discussed the limitations for certain type 1 diabetics and people with eating disorders. For everybody else, this works at every age above the age of 10 years, as long as you are not underweight. So if you're healthy and eating exactly right, if you're sedentary, we are all probably overeating. If we are on the heavy side, we are way overeating for our health. So we need to fix all these overeating habits. And the best way to do that is fasting. This is what has worked for so many of my heart patients. People have been able to reduce eating all the way down to 50% and stayed there for months and sometimes years and gained so much health and confidence through intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting itself does not do that. What we recommend is hunger-based gratitude is the key thing. HUGE stands for hunger-based gratitude experience. So what we teach in Heartful Living clinics is self-inquiry and mindful eating, which deepens mind-body connection, connects you with gratitude for something in your life, and invites you to experiment at your own time and space. You're not stuck to any clock, 14 hours or 24 hours. And then this transformation is at the subconscious level. Your relationship with food actually improves. You're able to celebrate food so much more, not in the quantity, but in the little bit extra time that you spend with it and with the family that you eat with. And the whole experience becomes much more important. And people uh, become more, I would say, confident in giving up other habits like smoking and end up giving up many of their heart medications as well because they don't need it anymore, not because they don't like medicines, because they don't have the health conditions necessitating the medicine in the first place. And their creativity and ability to work improves, concentration and originality comes up. They become more compassionate towards people around them. Depression and anxiety completely disappear. So they give up medicines for anxiety, depression. And ultimately, this is driven more by self-inquiry. And in this journey, there is no dropout. People sometimes are able to adopt these things within weeks. Some people take years, but there is nobody who fails. Everybody is in this journey together, trying to move as best as we can. The ultimate benefit with just intermittent fasting alone, which has now become a fashion in US, in India in the last 5 years, I believe just with intermittent fasting once a week, people can live to 100 years. If you adopt gratefulness and self-inquiry, not only you will live 100 years, you will feel 10 times more alive today itself. So that is the promise of heartful living. So this we already discussed. So this is more of a meditative process with not only the physical benefits of heart attack and cancer risk reduction, but you gain the benefits of better sleep, more resilience towards whatever life throws at you, more optimism, and you learn what ketosis is. People talk about ketogenic diet where they say you should have plenty of meat, plenty of oil. That is not how humans evolved over millions of years. As a cardiologist, I'm going to ask you to avoid that sort of diet. Stick with a predominantly plant-based diet and with a little bit of recognition of intermittent fasting and then slowly moving from intermittent fasting towards gratitude-based natural ketosis. Here you have a potential for life transformation. From this point onwards, you will not need Anand as a cardiologist. You will not need 20 of 22 medicines. And you will definitely feel so many more years younger and so much more life is up ahead of you at whatever stage of life you are in today. So hunger is accepted as a natural and healthy experience. And here with fasting intermittently, you can gain up to 20%, 30% maximum calorie restriction. Here there is really no limit. You can gain 50 to even 70% ongoing calorie restriction for months and years and feel good and confident about it, thereby losing weight naturally. This is, I would say, a solution for people who don't want gastric bypass surgery, who already had gastric bypass surgery. I have patients who had it 10 years ago who lost half their weight, and now after benefits of that for first few years, now they've gradually regained much of that weight back. For them also, this method will work. It just needs you to connect at a deeper level with your mind and body and work with that. What about normal weight people? When the people are overweight, when the BMI is 30, 35, intermittent fasting works. If you're morbidly obese, definitely it helps you regain complete health. What about underweight people? We don't recommend intermittent fasting. Normal weight people can do this, but they have to be careful that they sufficiently supplement calories on the days that they are not fasting. So right now I am a normal weight person. My BMI is about 23, 24. I do intermittent fasting once a week, and every day in the last 2 years, especially in the last 6 months to 8 months since COVID started, I've stayed hungry every day until I'm really hungry. I don't put food in the mouth. Ends up being most often I'm eating 2.5 meals, some many days 2 meals a day. But I play a lot of tennis, so that requires calories. Sometimes I may have extra fruits and nuts and things like that in between. So bottom line, connecting with hunger, we have a lot of health benefits, even if we have normal BMI. That is the message here. So with hunger-based gratitude experience, not only the benefits of fasting, but coping with mental issues, anxiety, depression, compliance with smoking cessation, really connecting with people, with our work, with everything else in life becomes so much more crisp, bright, and life becomes more celebrating. I'll skip some of this stuff. So we think we need food to survive, but we don't realize over thousands and I would say even millions of years, evolution has ensured that we are not gas or petrol-based cars. We are hybrid. That means even if we don't put fuel into our body, just with the electric power we can go on, the equivalent of that being the fat in our body that can be burnt comfortably, that will allow not only for us to survive, but even for us to train, weight training with the fasting, aerobic training with fasting. All these things actually help us gain so much more health. So all these are little higher level, which we will sort of not have the time today to go over. But I just want to mention that at the fasted state, after 12 hours of fasting, if you try aerobic, like walking, running, or weight training to build muscle, all these things are more effective after 12 to 14 hours of fasting. So ideal way would be after dinner. That means when you wake up in the morning, before you put any food into your body, try exercise. Even yoga, they say best in empty stomach. Same thing for any type of exercise. So there are two monkeys which are both about 25 years old. The monkey on the left side looks its age. The monkey on the right side looks like a teenager. But both the monkeys are actually the age of, I would say, 70-year-old human beings. So why did this monkey not age at all? The one on the right side, if you see the side profile. This is because for a few years, this monkey was calorie restricted, whereas this one was allowed to eat normal monkey diet. This monkey was never obese, but eating a normal diet, it aged normally, just like all other monkeys in the world. But this monkey, by restricting calories 30%, it remained young. So that is the message. And then they tried this in human beings. This is the monkey study showing cancer risk goes down, heart disease risk goes down, diabetes disappears. There is no diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia. And if you look at the life expectancy of a normal blue monkey, the calorie restricted red monkey is just not getting old. And then they looked at other life forms, from bacteria to small grasshoppers to snakes to rats to dogs and the monkeys that I talked about. Everything increased life expectancy by 50 to sometimes even 100%. That means human beings that we expect to live 80 years can live to 125 years if we choose to calorie restrict ourselves. That is the potential of these animal studies that have been gathering over the last 70 years. And this has now been done in humans. I'm going to skip some of this. And this is the study in healthy, normal weight human beings. When they took a 25% voluntary calorie restriction, their BMI, of which was healthy at 25, dropped down to 22. And within normal range, their blood pressure, cholesterol numbers, if it's normal, can it get better? Yes. A 35-year-old healthy person became a 20 or a 25-year-old. That is what has been shown in humans. The study is published in Lancet, and it's called Calorie 2. Calorie 2 is the name of the study. And all this is now available. Evidence to say that by not putting food in our body, we are helping our body. So by lifespan, which is 70 years, we can increase it to 100 or 120 years by cutting calories. But if we think we can stop eating, then unfortunately immunity will suffer, our health will go down. So there is a sweet spot where ideally our body fat percentage is below 20%, our BMI is about 22, and with a little bit of intermittent fasting and appropriate calorie counting, we can choose today to ensure that we remain healthy to 100, maybe 120 years of life. If we are big at a younger age, or if we want to achieve our biggest potential athletically, or if we just want to have a good life or lose weight, whatever our goal is, or if we want to understand ourselves at a deeper level through meditation, for all these purposes, intermittent fasting, I believe, is a very effective tool. So what we recommend, I will summarize in one slide. Eat only when you're really hungry. Appreciate food with gratitude. Don't take it for granted. If at all possible, enjoy food with family and with friends. Eat slowly, over 20 minutes for each meal. Chew the food deliberately. Avoid all forms of drinks. There is no healthy drink in the world that I've come across. Water is all that we need. Snacks, that word itself is unhealthy. If you really must snack, it should be part of a dinner table. So on your dinner plate, you put whatever thing you call a snack and you have it as part of it. Cook food at home. More and more people are resorting to packaged foods, pre-cooked foods, restaurants. If we cook at home, we have so much more control over the way we cook it and what we really end up eating. When we are shopping for food and groceries, that is when we really have to be vigilant. Simple clue is 9 out of 10 things that are sold are unhealthy. So find the 1 out of 10 things that is really healthy for you. Whenever you find fiber, it is healthy. In natural foods, when it is less processed and when the food is colorful naturally, that is when you will find that you're giving yourself the type of fiber that your gut microbiome requires. If you're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables, you probably would not need any supplementation at all. So all the dietary supplements and health supplements, they just take away our money. They are not meant to make us healthy. So that is what we recommend in Heartful Living. So eat only when hungry, and every time appreciate food with gratitude. So this is how we look at it. Plenty of fiber in the food. Make the smart choice and cook at home. No drinks. Eat slowly. Celebrate with family and connect with hunger gratefully. This is one of my patients. At 50 days in the hospital now, because by 48th day he could barely walk. He came to the hospital to get fluids, but even then he refused any food. So what he is doing is a 54-day water only fast. He did this because he has heart disease. He's requiring a 4-vessel bypass surgery and he has a weak heart. He did it on his own after attending our 8-week program. I told him to fast once a week, but he said for 54 days I will not eat any food. And after that he became vegan. So the 54-day fast was okay. He survived it. That's not what we recommend as doctors. But the vegan diet that he's now adopted has allowed him in the last 1 year to gain so much more confidence and to still avoid that bypass surgery. His heart function, which was at 40%, is now normal. So this type of self-transformation is possible even if somebody is in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, if we take ownership for our health. So this is his graph, how much weight he lost when he was without any food for 54 days, just on water. This loss involves not only fat burning, and he went beyond that to protein burning. That means he's burning muscle also. That's why we don't recommend continuous fast beyond 36 hours. But he did that because of his religion and his faith. And the transformation to plant-based diet is because of participating in our program. And he feels so much more confident now about 10 months after the fast. So this is him in the hospital. This is another patient. There are so many patients, but I'll just show you a few slides. This is an 80-year-old with heart problems who ended up losing a ton of weight. And this is after so many years that he's remaining healthy over the last 6 to 8 years. And now He's asking, how much more weight can I lose, doc? You tell me, what more do I need to do? Because even now he's a little bit on the overweight side, if you see. So this type of self-inquiry gives you the confidence to really transform from body, mind, and also at your energy level. That gives you the confidence to move forward. So again, another patient who should have had several hospitalizations for morbid obesity, but because he adopted fasting, instead of fasting, I would say once or twice a week, he did it 6 times a week. So once a week he'll go to a restaurant, eat to his content. But other 6 days in the week, he will fast. That means he will have only one proper meal every night for the last 8 months. He's going to bed hungry. He came to my clinic last week and said, my stomach is still grumbling every night I go to sleep, doc, but now I really want to live long and I want to continue to do well. I feel so much better. And he's given up many of his heart medicines because he's so much more healthy right now. Another patient. All these are individual stories, but I'm just showing you their weight graph to show you this is better than gastric bypass surgery if you are willing to trust yourself. That's all it takes. This is one step beyond that. This is a professor here. I saw him in the beginning. I don't know if he's still in the meeting. If he is, I'm going to invite him to talk once we are done so that he can share his experience. At 69, he would get out of breath just stopping and are you here, sir? Yeah, go ahead. You tell your story. I thought I heard him. Okay, maybe he's not here.
I'm here, but I'll wait till you can tell my story.
No, you're here. Please go ahead. You tell us.
Well, I don't know how much you want to know about me, but I did have a heart attack about 2 years ago, and I thank God that Dr. Chakalingam was my doctor because he really helped not only my body, but my mind. And so the first step I did was increase exercise and have a better, healthier diet. And he has on the screen that I ran is kind of a strong word, but I ran and walked a 5K. I'd never done that in my life. And so that was a pretty good goal that I was able to accomplish. And then probably about 13, 14 months after the heart attack, I convinced myself to go on intermittent fasting. For me, I do 16 hours. I'm laying in my recliner, so I won't put my video on. So I went 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. And I do that every day. And my blood pressure is amazing now. I've got some other health stresses, and it's still in that, the top number is still 110, something like that. I used to have some digestive tract intestine problems. That's all healed up. And so I'll stop here, but it's been a great experience, and I don't know how much younger I feel, but I feel maybe 15 years younger than I should.
Amazing. Why don't you, if you feel like you can tell us about the email you sent me today, if you want to, otherwise we can keep moving ahead also.
I'm sorry, say again.
The email you sent me today, if you want to talk about that briefly, that's fine, but that's up to you.
You mean about my other health challenge or the, oh,
this has helped you with that also.
Yeah. So I've been diagnosed with cancer in my sinus, and I've had, as you might guess, sorry, my doorbell went off. I've had some anxiety and sleepless nights, but I've been able to deal with that, I think, much better since I went through the heart attack and that journey. Because quite frankly, after the heart attack, my mind was kind of shattered. and with Dr. Chocolingam and getting into exercise process, I really overcame that kind of problem with my mind, and got my mind and my body together. And now as I go through this next challenge, I feel like I'm going to conquer it. I'm going to have surgery tomorrow, and I'm going to get better. And so going through this journey that I did, that it took me almost 2 years, and I'm not really done with it, has helped me with this next challenge.
Thanks so much, Bill, for
Wow.
sharing your entire life story with all of our friends today. We will take 1 minute to pray for our friend's health, and for him to recover from this surgery tomorrow. Tomorrow he has a big surgery, but still he decided to come and join us and share his experience. So for a minute, we will pray for
Wonderful.
his health, and then we'll continue with our discussion. Good luck. You're going to come through this in flying colors.
Thank you all.
All our prayers with you, sir.
So the reason I show this medal for this experience is not about just exercise or fasting, or because he underwent a stent in his heart a couple of years ago, but because the ownership and enthusiasm with which he has adopted fitness training with the young high school athletes. He goes and trains to become stronger to compete in the next event. He's been doing this for a year and a half now. So that level of enthusiasm to connect at the age of 69, 70 years with the mind, body, and explore life at a totally new level. We call it flow. It's been described by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and this book was written in the 1970s. But the concept is how we can optimally engage in a specific task that we choose. And for him, the exercise and the body-mind connection that he developed has allowed him to gain that much more confidence towards life itself. So that's the symbolism of this medal that he proudly shares with us. So this is moving on. Two people who are 60 years old that I took care of. One of them looks like a 75-year-old inside the heart, whereas this heart looks like a 40-year-old. So the chronological age is the number of years we have lived, but the biological age, or how we are inside in the cardiovascular system, really determines how much more time we have in this lifetime. So for that, we have a choice how we can choose to age as we move forward starting today. Prevention can be primordial, primary, secondary, and tertiary. As a cardiologist, we take care of putting stents, doing bypass surgeries, doing cardiac rehab, and this is our realm, which is secondary prevention after having a heart attack. Controlling blood pressure, diabetes, and all that is in the primary care doctor's realm. Appropriate education, optimizing lifestyle is important from the schools and colleges and from society itself, what people learn. This tertiary, after the heart is really weak, we place ICDs and do heart transplants. That is really in very advanced level centers. So ultimately, cardiologists are It's playing a role mostly in the 50s to 70s age range. And primary care providers deal with healthier people, and policy that is important in schools, among friends, what you learn, and trends in society and fashions. All these things decide how our life itself evolves from a young age. How can you help not only your health, but that of your friends and family? This is the new question that we have started within the last few weeks. So the answer to that is if you smile 20 times every hour. But this I've been saying for 10 years. So what's the difference? This smile we have adopted to a new level now. We talked about self-inquiry, we talked about gratitude, we touched on mindfulness, connecting with people in our lives, creativity, flow, experience, sports. Fasting is what we really focused on. Ikigai is a concept of finding the life's worth, the meaning of life itself, and waking up every day to it. But this smile program that we are talking about now is beyond just physically smiling or being grateful inside. This is going one step further. Self-inquiry based, multi-generational involvement in lifestyle enhancement. So this is our newest invitation to everybody. Say, for instance, we heard one of my patients talk to you today. Anybody can connect with their own friends and their uh, families, their own children, whether they are at risk or whether they are totally healthy, and their grandchildren who may be at risk down the road. So anybody above the age of 10 years, we want to involve in this heartful living high life journey. And especially for patients who have heart issues, their children end up being at much more risk. So they have to be even more careful. Same way it applies to their grandchildren as well. So this message, why should it go to friends? Over the last 5 years, we've involved friends already. The reason is some people are single and they relate closely with their friends. So if they can connect with these changes and their friends, do it with them, it makes it that much more easier to adopt and sustain over months and years when it is reinforced with people in their own lives. So the SMILE program is basically asking you today to involve others in highlifejourney.org, whoever it may be. This whole thing is non-profit, so really there's nobody making any money out of this. So it's just education. And if you educate others in your family, there's a good chance that you will sustain it for yourself and for others over the next several years and decades. So these are the collaborators I work with in psychology, in exercise physiology. This is my friend in Coimbatore who has this High Life Journey website put up for us so that we can interact through it. And I want to thank all these people which uh, over the years have inspired and motivated me to do this work. My dad might be here. He would definitely want to share a few words. My sister does a amazing program with cardiac wellness in India. She's one of the pioneers over the last 5 to 10 years. She has developed it in Chennai, and so many other people. The VA system has helped us do the Heartful Living clinics for the last 5 years, and we want to open it up to our veterans throughout the country as we move this online program forward. Thanks so much. We'll stop here and we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anand. It was like so much of insightful learning here. And I remembered this saying by Mahatma Gandhi, as you mentioned him in the previous slides, that our planet provides us enough for our needs, but not for our greed. And I think precisely, we should limit our calories and the food, the kind of food we are exposed to, and we get greedy. And I think that is the main reason that we are, suffering from so many diseases. And this is like mindful living that you pointed out.
Thanks, Suchi. Next time I talk about fasting, I'm going to invite you because you're more than I am. I talked
No,
to talking about the heart benefits, but my friend who came on, he suggested that it's helping him not only with his heart health, but also to cope with the surgery that he's up for tomorrow. What you're
yes,
saying is the next level. How are we going to be responsible to sustain humanity
yes,
over the next 50 years, 500 years? Because we have to do the right thing so that the future generations have a chance to a healthy green planet. They say
exactly.
A football size field is required to sustain one standard American diet based human being in the US.
Oh,
Football size field. If they eat this
right.
meat and beef and processed meat, that sort of diet, a football field is needed. But the same
Yes.
football field can sustain 17 human beings if they eat a plant based diet, if they give up meat.
Yes.
So for us to
Yes.
be as a world healthier, 20 years, 50 years from today, more and more of us will be making the greener plant-based choices. Thanks so much for
Yes.
bringing that up. And that will actually reduce our greed also. Once we eat right
True.
and we start fasting,
True that.
it will make us connect at a deeper level. And most of the silliness that we search and see
Yes.
and run after, we will give up. So we don't want to
Exactly.
move too much into philosophy. But what you said is so beautiful. Thanks for those comments.
Welcome. But we can really connect, mindful eating. That's a beautiful thought. We always thought like healthy living, healthy eating, but you getting it into meditation and mindfulness. That's wonderful. We can open the house, sir, if anybody wants to, ask somebody. Think of anybody here because there are a lot of questions I think we have regarding our health.
Mm. Hi, I have a quick question. Can you all hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes,
Uh,
yes, we can.
hi, Anand. This is the Deepika here, Rachna's sister. We have met.
How are you doing, Deepika?
I'm doing good. Very nice to see you and hear you after a very long time.
We're glad you joined us. Good to connect with you.
Yeah, very insightful session. So just a quick question. I do fast on every Monday just to keep my body and mind healthy, and I have a meal once a day, and then in the morning I have fruits, and at in the evening time, if I feel hungry, then I have maybe a cup of milk with some uh, uh, with something to suck on. I'm not getting that word. What do you call that? That fool makhana. What do you call that? So at times I have
Foxnut.
that.
The fox
Yeah,
nuts.
fox nut, yes. So those roasted fox nuts I would have with a cup of milk. So that is how that one day of my week is. But all I want to ask is, now that you talked about the intermittent fasting and fasting with only water for good 14 to 18 hours, if I'm right. So all I want to know is, even if we have fruits on one particular day, like I just mentioned, with the meal once a day, is that helpful? I mean, is that good
What you're doing,
for a healthy lifestyle,
what
if we have fruits like which is full of water, or any fruit for that matter?
there's plenty of water. All the fruits are mostly water. There
Yeah.
are some sugars also. So the sugars do cut through the fasting full benefits. So you will still have some benefits, but I guess you started this based on your culture, your environment you grew up in, and religious reasons. That's how you probably started fasting as a child. But this is very similar to that, but you can get little more benefit if you choose only water. And very likely you will not have any trouble even in the first few weeks. But even if you do have little headache or feel little jitteriness, feeling hungry itself, don't worry too much about it. Drink some more water, try to smile and divert your mind towards some other activities. And after a few weeks, you will find having food beside you actually is reassuring. For me, I will get a little more anxious early on when there is no food in sight. But once I look at food, then I can find, okay, I can still go on with the fast. So that's the difference between starving and fasting. Starving induces anxiety, stress, because we are seeking food. Fasting means we have food that is cooked and ready and delicious, but we are just postponing it a little longer. Unless you are doing extremely demanding physical work, uh, going up to 18 or even 24 hours, uh, even 36 hours. That means if you have dinner Sunday night, Monday entire day only water, and Tuesday morning having breakfast, that is 36-hour fast. So that also is extremely healthy. You don't have to do it once a week, even twice a month is sufficient. Ekadesi, things like that people do. So there are numerous options. I'm not saying you have to do this, do that. This journey, there is no starting, there is no ending. It is what you are comfortable with. I pushed my fasting beyond the comfort zone because I realized that when I started losing tennis matches that I was winning in 2018, 2019, and 2020, I couldn't move that well and win in March and April and May. Then I started eating a little more food. So we have to find that balance. So the question always can remain, do I really need this intake for me to accomplish what I want to accomplish? That is what eating is all about. As long as we stick with that question, you will come back to me in 6 months, in a year, and say, you have expanded your experience a little further. And how much further you expand it, it's all open. But if you avoid even fruits, you will have extra benefit. That is what I want to leave you thinking about.
Right.
On the 6 days that you're having food, fruits and vegetables should be the main part of every meal. That is the most important message. On the day that you fast, you don't need the fruits.
Okay.
Okay, one more thing. Thank you so much for answering my question. But one thing I want to mention is, since my BP level is always not very normal, it is at a lower level, and if I don't eat at all, let's say on that one particular day, if I have a very a huge gap between anything that I eat or and continuously if I'm working both from my body and mind, I realize that I have a severe headache because I think my BP level goes at an extreme end, and then I would have that mix of salt and sugar solution or electoral powder, and that gives me a little respite.
Excellent.
I mean,
This is the very important aspect. You have the luxury of, I showed you a slide about the heart. One person's heart looks like a 70-year-old inside the echo, and the other person's heart looks like a 40-year-old. Both are only 60 years of age. One has underage, the other one has overage. You are underage in the sense your biological age is much younger. That is why your blood pressure is on the low side. That itself means you're going to live past 100 years. By fasting, you'll probably end up living 130 years. But when you fast, what happens is our body's salt requirement also goes up. So if you have low blood pressure, it's not easy to fast. You have to really supplement salt on the day before and the day after fasting. So it's going to be tricky for you. What you're doing is the right thing, getting a good amount of electrolytes. But we have electrolyte supplementation without sugar. So just electrolytes alone without sugar, if you can get, that will be ideal for you to maintain your blood pressure if you want to try fasting. But on the other days, ensure you take adequate amount of salt. Low blood pressure is not convenient because on a regular day, you don't want to be feeling dizzy and tired. Your blood pressure for every adult should be closer to 100 millimeters systolic, 100, 110. 120 and above is high nowadays, but 100 to 115, I would say, is good blood pressure to have. If yours dips below that, if you're in the 80s and 90s, you're going to feel tired all through the day. Fasting will not be easy for
Doctor, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. And Dr. Anand, if time permits, I have just one very small question. You mentioned that physical hunger is the best form. You have to choose food and go for. Don't we tend to overeat when we are like really hungry? We go to extent of overeating, and whatever we lay our hands on, we just tend to eat that. How about that?
But that's why I said when you go shopping, shop only 1 out of 10 things. If you go and get,
Okay.
it should be a banana, or it should be an orange, or an apple, or blueberries, then it's fine. That's
Right. Right.
what you eat in the hunger. And
Basically, we should not have access to junk food
that is
when
actually
we are really hungry.
a problem. But all those problems will resolve over a few months of what you're doing. So if you talk to most of my patients, the graphs that you saw, none of them will be challenged if they see junk food around them. For them, it will be an amusement.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I don't smoke cigarettes. So if I see a cigarette, I'm not going to say, oh my God, I have to smoke it, right? Because I'm not in the habit. So if you eat
Yes.
and you recognize what is healthy for your body, seeing junk food is not going to challenge you at that point.
Right. Got it.
And
Got it.
overgrow that.
But Dr. Anand, if we have nothing in the home and if we see any junk food, then we have to eat it, right? Because if we feel hungry, then we have to eat.
When you're really hungry, when you're really hungry, junk food won't taste good. You will not go for it. When you're really
Right.
hungry, your body is more smart than you.
If you run out of food, that if we see something, then right.
So my invitation to you is experiment with the 24-hour fast. At the end of that 24 hours, your body will naturally seek bananas. How do I know that? I always liked bananas. The last 2 years since I started fasting, bananas taste 5 times better. Chips and ice cream, I will not go towards it at the end of the 24-hour fast. So you experiment with yourself, you will find the answers within yourself.
Yes, the body will always demand for fruits and healthy food.
Yeah.
If we fast for a longer time.
Nuts are,
Or the
It
one
is
you will want salt in your diet. We can have buttermilk with salt. So many things you can add little extra salt. As you break the fast, if you don't have high blood pressure, and if you have, like Deepika said, tendency for low blood pressure, your natural inclination will be towards more salt craving, and that is normal. That is healthy. It is fine. It will help you.
and what if can we also like freeze the fruits and make it into a smoothie in fasting, or is that going to be harmful?
What is your reason to have a smoothie rather than the real fruit? What is your advantage?
Because what we do is like if we have fruits and we can like just we can put it into a smoothie and just maybe drink it because it's much better because you're still eating the fruit in the smoothie.
I think it should be okay as long as you don't add supplements to it, like sugar or any other additives.
Like we just make it using yogurt. That's it.
See, then you have to count the calories from the yogurt also, but that's okay, I would think. If it's just yogurt without any sugar,
Yeah,
guarantee.
without sugar. Without sugar.
But fruits, I would say, still are the natural, healthy. Some of that may be lost, but by and large, freezing does not lose nutritive value. So refrigeration, I'm not opposed to. By and large, I still recommend the fruits and vegetables with less processing as the ideal source. Generally, there are people who drink juices. Juicing itself is a way of losing weight. That sort of thing is not ideal because we may lose the fiber in it. That is the reason. Smoothie, I'm not absolutely sure how much of the fiber we
இவங்கள இருக்கவங்க இத்தனை பேர் கேள்வி கேட்கறேன்.
can hear you. Hello. We see you now, Dad. Appa, Amma.
Yes, Anand. Hello, how are you, Suji? I really appreciate for the
Hello,
excellent
sir.
discussion. I'm really happy.
Hello, sir.
Just 1 minute comment. What you are doing is excellent job. First, I will answer
Thank
Prashant's one. Prashant was asking, why not you take smoothies instead of fruits? Please remember, as long you have got teeth, you must not take anything in the juice form. You must take the whole fruit. You must take the skin of the fruit, which is more important. When you become 90, okay, you don't have teeth, okay, swallow it by means of drinks. Otherwise, no excuse of avoiding any total fruits. One, it's better to fast than living on fast foods. An important message Anand has been very much nicely stressing. Please remember, except what you inhale, air, or what you drink, any food if you take, let it be carbohydrate, protein, fat, if the calories in that is not burned, our liver converts into fat and stores in the body. So except the air and water, everything will be, even if you take anything other than real fat, will be converted into fat. The body, our system is for genetically for millions of years tuned to extract energy from easy way by means of your glucose and starch. For body as of us to get energy from fat is the most difficult thing. So body doesn't want to take the energy from the fat because it needs into various cycles to become a, as he was mentioning, various cycle of biochemical changes to get the energy. So body is a very lazy one because you are tuned to that one. I want easy calories by taking glucose, by means of taking juice like that. So never allow the fat to accumulate first of all. And seeing that you are constantly use the calories what you are putting in. The reason why I'm saying stressing here is we are only tuned to or addicted to the taste buds in the tongue. Any food which you like, if it goes beyond your mouth, please remember it is going to kill you. So the moment you know how to control the taste bud, okay, good is good, bad is bad. That's what he has been telling very nicely. How important is. The most important factor is, Anand was very much nicely stressing, once you are addicted to fasting, habituated to that, it will become equivalent to meditation.
Right.
When you go to the stage of meditation because of fasting, please remember, endorphins will be secreted. It elevates the mood of your thing. At that time, even if you're going to take extra one biscuit, you won't be allowed to take. So it's all taking your mind. Why I'm stressing? The moment you are happy, anything that make you happy, as he has been telling, smiling, happy, please remember two hormones are reacting to the mood. One, if you are anxious, tensed up, worried, please remember ghrelin is secreted. When the ghrelin is secreted, you will be tempted to take more food. It increases appetite. The moment you are going to be happy, as has been telling, I'm happier now because of my internal feeling of happiness and smiling, leptin is secreted. See that ghrelin or leptin secretion by your mood, happy mood or mood of negative one. So if you are going to be happy, when the leptin is secreted, it depresses your appetite. So how this one fasting, meditation, happiness, that will increases your leptin, and whatever the food, you will hate to see the food. You won't like to see the table with the food. That's what he has been telling. You must get tuned to that. So ultimately, you must know how long you want to live. Many of my patients used to ask me, is it to be followed lifelong? If really interested to live long life, we have to follow that. There are no shortcuts. So one of the important instrument Anand has been stressing is fasting is really very great. Once you enjoy that, nothing can beat that. So you must not stress yourself. You are going to a stage of what Anand is telling, intermittent fasting, everything like that. You start enjoying. The moment if you enjoy, the moment when you see you all smiling, your leptin is increased, ghrelin is decreased automatically. This is one system of endocrine response to the psychological, your thinking itself. So all are vicious cycle. I really appreciate Anand saying so many points. And many of my friends and patients, they think if they put on weight, they exercise enormously. Please remember, however exercise you may do, it can reduce only 5% of your body weight. 95% reduction in weight, only the type of food what you're going to take. So food you must be conscious, and there has been on stressing, it must be a meaningful. Eating is very, very important. I really appreciate now Anand, more and more youngsters are joining. It is our aim of seeing people. Anand was, he is my son, was my student, my colleague is now. I am learning a lot from my student, and I am now, my professor is become Anand. Chokeling, who was his professor, has now become student. This is what process of learning. So please take care of. The moment if you are going to fast, please remember your immunity increases. Even the COVID, you can get rid of it very easily. Nothing will affect by even COVID. My best wishes.
Uncle,
Anand.
you are going to be our Uncle, you are going to be our next speaker.
Yes.
Rachna,
Good, we'll see that. But many points, I know that this, Rachna, you got the excellent group.
yes, Uncle.
And adding to that, I really, you all must spread the message. Shruti, how you are conducting, I really appreciate. The questions are really good.
Thank you so much.
Every day you are learning. Life is the one, is the learning process.
Yes,
I really
every day.
appreciate. Anand, my greatest
Yes.
appreciation for you, Anand. And your presentation is getting more and more polished. I think you are learning from your discussions. I appreciate. Your mother wants to say something, Anand.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am, to our platform.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much.
Shuchi,
Very
you're
great.
having leading cardiologists. Shuchi, you're having leading cardiologists on your panel today.
Yes,
So
that's
Dr.
wonderful.
Chokalingam
Dr.
is one of the
Ashna.
leading cardiologists of Chennai and very well-known
Okay.
personality. He's a very famous person on TV, and people really listen to him. And he is a very famous personality here. Dr. Anand is in US now, and his sister, Dr. Priya, is also a cardiologist. And
In
she also
Chennai?
runs she also runs a great wellness clinic. And Dr. Sindhamare, Anand's mother, she's an amazing pathologist. She's also a doctor. So Anand comes from a lineage of amazing doctors. So they have Anand's wife is also a doctor. His son is also a budding doctor. So they have all doctors in the family.
Wonderful, wonderful family,
yeah,
and with so much passion towards their work. That's the best part.
Shruti, where are you, Shruti?
Yes,
You are from where, Shruti?
Sir, I'm
Amritsar,
based in
uncle.
Amritsar, sir, Punjab, North India.
Very good.
So like different parts of the world, and getting so much of knowledge from you people and the passionate doctors. Basically, that's the beautiful thing about it. Thank you, sir and ma'am, for joining us. It was wonderful hearing from you as well.
But we
Anand,
should all thank you and Dr. Anand for this beautiful presentation, and hopefully I'll be joining more into it. Since Dr. Anand is the best uncle I have also, and the best my also best person to
I'm
be.
so glad you joined, because we want younger people to adopt these things, so that
exactly
the lifetime the benefit is going to be so much more, and you can inspire.
That's why I always get all the best suggestions from you, and
so glad you
Anand, I have a question.
Hello, Dr. Anand. I have a quick question. Is it okay when you're fasting to have, like, say, lemon water with salt in it and also green tea without anything?
Yes, I'm hearing more and more about tea. I said no drink is healthy for the heart except water. Tea and maybe a little bit of coffee may be okay, maybe actually good. In the fasting, these things actually help us to deal with the no calories much better. A little bit of lemon water.
What about the lemon water with salt? Is that
what I will suggest for Deepika also? When she said her blood pressure is already low when she starts her Monday fasting, when she adds a little bit of lemon water with salt, that blood pressure high enough for her to comfortably go through the day without needing other sugars.
the salt is okay for during fasting?
These are fine.
Okay.
Salt is good for people who have lower blood pressure. For them to be able to withstand the fast, salt is needed.
So,
what about herbs like mint or basil? Any
I don't know if it is
going to break the fast?
If you think it's helping you, I'm fine with that. See, bottom line is we are cutting down from 80-90% of intake, and then here if we are discussing within 95 to 99% cut, little bit here and there, the body is not. It's we are not trying to win a race against anybody.
Yeah.
Make it
No, it's really this intermittent fasting. Personally, for me, I don't have any problems. I don't know, maybe if I fast for 18 hours, I'm okay. So like I can do that pretty much every day. So I don't know if there is something wrong or what.
As long as your energy level is high and you feel optimistic, you're able to go about your work. That is what health is about, right? So if you need, and if you can survive for weeks and months, my patients have survived for years.
Yes.
Being hungry, and they're actually not only healthy, they're coming off medicines, and people who have said, "Doc, I don't have anything to look out for. Why are you worried this much? I'm not even worried about my health." Like that, my patients talk to me. So they,
Yeah.
and say, "Now I really want to live, Doc."
You are doing such an excellent job in motivating, these patients who probably have lost all hope of health. And so this,
In the first few years, it was my mission to try and educate and try to get the message across. But now I feel I'm not sharing my message. I am sharing the experience of so many of my people.
yes, yes.
And
So that more
and
follow.
what about the and what about the cups of tea, like one in morning and one in evening?
And one cup should be fine. That's what I believe. From the available literature, 1 cup a day is okay. Second,
Prashant, as long as your tea does not have milk and sugar in it.
But we use milk.
No, then that will
There is
break your
something.
fast.
no. He's saying other days of the week when he's not fasting.
Oh,
Maybe okay. That too if you use low fat or skim milk on the other 6 days of the week, that is okay.
Anand,
yeah.
I have a question. Anand, I have a question. I have been practicing the intermittent fasting after listening to you. See, weekly thrice, me and Ananya, we both do that. But in spite of that, you recommend that we go on the water fast once a day. I mean, once a week, sorry. Is it, it will be helpful, or this itself is more than enough?
Every day of the week, how many hours are you doing?
14 to 16.
14 to 16. Okay, 14 is what we recommend. If you're pushing it to 16, it's going to make it
Yes.
too hard for you to do anything beyond that. But
Yes.
despite that, the best benefit as far as cancer risk reduction, it's a phenomenon called autophagy. We don't have randomized controlled trials. Autophagy means programmed cell death. So when the body finds that there is not enough nutrition coming in, it sort of lays off, or people cut off from when the economy is poor, people are laid off from work, right? Like that, the body does it on its own. So it is able to self-destruct cells that are not functioning optimally. So the first cells to self-destruct will be the precancerous cells that are considered. That is the metabolism that really happens at about 17 hours, 20 hours. So that peaks at about 24 to 36 hours. So that's why once in a once or twice a month, if you can do 36 hours, that might be ideal. If you can.
Oh, so you mean to say, in spite of doing like 3 days a week of intermittent fasting that I and Ananya we follow, you are asking us, you're recommending that once a month, probably we could go in for 36 hours of fasting on just water. That's what you're trying to say,
Twice
right?
might be good. 24 to 36.
Twice.
Twice to 4 times a month. I'm trying to do this once a week, but 36 hours is what I've tried in the last few months. But for the last 2 years, I've been doing 24 hours. That means Tuesday evening, I'll have dinner. Wednesday evening, again, same time, I'll have dinner. In between, I'll not have anything.
Okay.
So once
Okay.
a week, or at least twice a month, if we can go 24 to 36 hours, we may have extra benefits beyond what you're doing already.
Okay. Now, when if we are doing the water fasting, we just being on water, whether it's 24 or 36 hours, you recommend the physical exercise also. See, you know what kind of workout I do. I mean, you know me very well. Ananya and I, we do very extensive and vigorous workouts. So you recommend on those days the physical activity, or simple, or we should keep it simple rather than making it more vigorous. That's what you recommend, or how do we go about it?
Some people do fine. They don't get affected by the fast. Some people cannot exercise. I fall somewhere in between. I'm able to run. I'm able to do most other biking and things like that. But when I play tennis, I can still play for 2 hours after fasting for 24 hours. But I end up losing those tennis matches because it's hard to move them as fast and as clean as I want to. But I'll tell you my experience. Last week, I fasted for 36 hours. From Thursday at lunch, I did not have anything until Friday at dinner. So that was about 34, 35 hours. And I played 2 tennis matches, Thursday night and Friday. The Friday match was with a tough opponent, and at about 30 hours of 0 calories, only on water, after having played a tennis match for 2.5 hours the night before and being without food the whole day on Friday, I actually ended up playing much better. In the sense, the body was still a little down, I would say 5%, but the mind was so clear that I actually won the match very easily. So there is no right or wrong here. So I'd like you to explore it, and it is fine to exercise as long as you are aware of how much you're pushing, how well you're hydrating.
Super. So let me try that, and I'll get back
You're getting
to you about that, because you told about the lemon water thing. So that's something very nice which we always drink. So I think I should be fine with the water, the 0-calorie fast, and I shall try my physical workout, and I'll let you know about that.
The
That's
smiling
very
is the
good.
most important thing. When you're working out, be smiling means I request you to be that much more grateful for the body. Every day
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to achieve your goals. On the day that
Sure,
you're
sure.
fasting, your body is
Mm.
working extra hard to achieve your goals.
Mm.
Be that much more
Super.
grateful with the body. You will realize
Yeah.
this is the way to actually gain the deeper insight into the subconscious. That is what this is an invitation to.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So I think we've taken enough of your time, Dr. Anand, and we appreciate your time a lot. Like, it's been such a valuable discussion that we've had today. And I think people will get back to you at your forum, at the site highlight site. I'll forward it in my group in India at least. And I'm sure people are going to benefit. And thank you, Dr. Rachna, for introducing us to Dr. Anand. Thank you so much.
Most
Okay, this is
welcome.
the
Most
site.
welcome.
Yes.
Most welcome.
And
Most
even
welcome.
Senior Dr. Chokalingam, thank you for joining us, and Ma'am Chokalingam, everybody. Thank you so much.
And also
Thanks
thanks
a lot
to you
to
too as
everyone.
well.
Thank you to
Bye.
Dr. Anand, to you, to everyone.
Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Suchi. That's
Wonderful, Anand.
and the
Really, very nice presentation, Anand.
Yeah.
And when you are giving a talk, you are going little away from the mic, Anand. You must come little more closer. It becomes distance voice.
excellent.
Excellent. Very good. Excellent presentation. I really appreciate.
Yes,
Yes.
it was excellent. And thank you, Dr. Chakalingam, for your comments too.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, sir.
I have a question, Dr. Anand. Sorry, really sorry to interrupt.
No.
I
I'm
have a
there.
question.
We can make it very fast. If you have more questions, I'm here for another 10 minutes.
What about having nuts? Is that okay to have nuts?
Nuts are excellent as long as they make sure they are not salted. But if your pressure is fine and you are fasting, nuts are even better, because that salt I crave, because I've fasted for 20 hours. That nuts salt aspect is good. Nuts have fat, but that fat is healthy fat. So all the
Yes.
forms of nuts are good. Walnuts, especially, we have a lot of evidence that they are very helpful for heart patients also. Oils, we try to recommend staying away from every oil in the world. Coconut oil, olive oil, any oil, unless you really need a few drops, if you minimize it, you're going to be better off. Healthiest
Alright.
fat
Shreya,
for the nuts, and avocado may be good.
Okay.
Shreya, I will ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
What nuts, Suji, you can also answer. What nuts contains cholesterol?
Cashew
Almonds.
nuts.
Cashew?
Walnut.
Cashew nuts, Suji, what do you feel? Rachana?
Walnut.
Uncle, I
Cashew,
say
maybe?
cashew nuts, uncle.
Okay. One good information to everyone, Prasad, for everyone.
That no nuts.
As all vegetable origin, all nuts are zero cholesterol.
Oh, we never knew
Okay.
that.
There
We
is
thought
no
that
nuts
nuts.
contains cholesterol.
Ah.
As Anand was telling, please take the nuts with the skin, not frying with the salt or the ghee or something. But don't take much of nuts, because it is more of calories it may add and put on weight. So nuts in diet is very good. It contains lot of micronutrients, essential fatty acids. Really very good for you. Every day you can take nuts, as has been telling that. So all nuts are all, any vegetable food, any food from the vegetable, zero cholesterol.
Ah, all right.
The nuts
Because animal kingdom only needs cholesterol. Any animal food, please, ghee is the animal food, contains plenty of cholesterol.
Yes.
Then you may ask, what about the coconut oil? Coconut oil also zero cholesterol, but it contains maximum saturated fat. That saturated fat, our liver converts into cholesterol very much easier. So any oil, if you keep it outside, solidifies. It's not good for
Yes.
you.
Okay.
Butter, ghee, coconut oil, anything in the room temperature solidifies.
So, uncle, so if we microwave nuts in oil, will that be okay or no?
Which one, please? Sorry.
If we microwave any the peanut or cashew in oil, is that okay or no?
Why you want to all those things? Why you want to do that? Always better to avoid microwave. Maximum avoid it.
Yes.
Don't add anything like that. Why you want to do that?
Because what we do is when we make if we feel hungry, then we microwave with the peanuts or anything, and then we just put a little bit oil, maybe 1 spoon, and then that's how we make it. So is that good or bad?
But keep it outside in the room temperature. Then will whatever thing solidified, allow it to come back to the normal level. Better to take it instead of reheating like that.
Yes.
I think he means roasting the nuts, roasting the peanuts.
Yes.
Yeah,
But as a matter of fact, small amount of ghee also is good, no problem. You can provide it if it's very much limited because it can. But better, I always tell them not to take ghee. Very important.
Right.
Oil roasting.
And please remember when Anand.
Oil roasting, all these things, if we avoid, just the nuts themselves are healthy if you can learn to engage.
Take it natural.
And
That is
also,
no doubt.
don't look at nuts as a snack. Look at it as part of your lunch or as your dinner. Use it with the meal. Snack.
Okay.
We don't register it as food. We just look at it as something that goes in. So eating
True
is
that.
of a deliberate effort where you sit down, engage, enjoy. Nuts are fine as part of dinner, as part of lunch.
Yes, yes.
So,
But
Dr.
another
Anand,
thing I want to tell Shreya and Suji, suppose
Yes.
this rice bran oil, olive oil, or sunflower oil, all the oils are good. But if you're going to use for frying, discard it after once you use it. If you're going to reuse it in frying, that oil becomes hydrogenated. It becomes gets saturated. So no more question of using that oil for second use. It should be totally discarded.
that's
So
a very
any
good
good oil
point.
becomes bad. Yes, Archana?
That's a really good
Uncle, you're
point.
Uncle, I never use, never. This has been practice in my house for past 15 years. I never reuse my oil, never. Once I fry something in that, it goes into the bin. I never use it.
But
I don't
what
keep
is a
in
good
my-
what is a good way of disposing that bad oil? Because it's not for our environment. Probably it's not the best way
I
to
use
put it.
it. See when we make dosas and all that, because I'm married into a South Indian family. I'm a Punjabi, so I use that oil to smear my tawas. I use it for these things, but otherwise I don't use those oils. I don't. First of all, for frying, I don't take gallons of oil. I don't even take half a liter of oil for frying. I use very little oil. I do very shallow frying. And if at all there is some leftover, I just dispose it. I don't give it for any kind of human consumption. I don't even give it to my maids. I just throw it off because it's not good for health.
Yeah.
Right.
But how?
So, Dr. Anand, I have a quick question too. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for your time. So, like, one of my goals is losing weight. Is it okay to consume like 800, 900 calories a day? Or is it not too less?
There are many people who wonder about what is the ideal amount of intake compared to the output. There are now studies saying that even people who do intermittent fasting, in the big picture, they are not losing weight. The reason for that is our body adapts to everything, including the fasting. We tend to subconsciously eat a little bit more the day before and 2 days after the fast. And body's metabolic rate goes so low that during the fast, when we are trying to burn, it doesn't burn as much calories as it would ideally like to do. But compared to every other diet in the world, I feel intermittent fasting is useful.
Yes, it is.
What we are finding that works for our heart patients is not intermittent fasting. I am, as a cardiologist, teaching my patients intermittent fasting, but they are coming back to me with this hunger gratitude experience. So that is the self-inquiry component where most of my patients, what they are doing, I'll tell you, they are not counting calories. They are not restricting the type of plant-based food. They are mostly eating whatever they are comfortable with. If they are rural Missouri, agricultural, they may be eating that. Some of my patients still enjoy fast food, but still they are seeing this tremendous decline. But obviously, every day they cannot be having fast food. This weight reduction comes by self-inquiry only for all these patients. So that is again and again finding out how little food we need to consume to do everyday's activities. And again connecting with hunger itself at a deeper level. I am okay with being hungry. I trust my body will do okay. That level of trust. And then see how much calories you need. That the answer is how active you are. You should not have to compromise that. For me, I love to play tennis and I love to bike on the trails. So I'm not hoping to compromise that. As long as how little calories I need, I'm taking, but without compromising the hours of tennis or cycling and obviously work. I'm working full time. So I don't want to take a day off and lie down and fast. And that's not the idea of fasting. It is allowing us to experiment with as little calories as we need again and again. Once we come to a new norm, again we experiment. So there is no new baseline at all. So we keep rediscovering the baseline. And we may find over the next few months, few years, we are actually consuming way lesser. Then that's why I'm saying through hunger gratitude experience, you can go to 50, even 70% calorie restriction. Normal calorie intake is 2000 per day for average human being. You may do even with 400, 300 calories. We don't know how many you need. So don't even keep count of that. As
Okay.
grateful and engaged and able to celebrate life, this intake question, we might be doing a correction for several years of giving the body extra stores so that we can continue to correct. And as we are aging, our metabolism naturally slows down. So
Yeah.
when my dad said 95% of weight reduction comes, that's what we've done research here. Most of any weight reduction has to ultimately come from cutting down on intake only. Even the people.
Excellent, excellent answer.
Archana, one small adding point to Anand. Less weight, more comfort. Less luggage, more comfort you see in the trains. Less is always more in your food or mind, everything.
Yes.
What I want to stress is for 1 kilogram of body weight, we need 30 calories of food, 30 cc of water. That's a dictum for us to live normally. Suppose you want to reduce 10 kilos of weight, 10 into 30, 300 calories. So every day you must reduce your intake by 300 calories. Don't abruptly reduce it. Face it so you'll enjoy it for a long time. So you want to reduce in 1 month 20 kilos. After 6 months, we'll put on 40 kilos. So everything must be faced and it must be gradual and start enjoying what you're doing. There's no problem at all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Doctor, can you hear me?
If you look at 2020 science, what is available, all the studies where people have lost 5 to 10 kilos, all that weight has come back after the studies are completed within 6 to 12 months, maybe 2 years, all the weight comes back. So as far as we know, our program, we have seen this success despite heart problems. And this is, I believe, attributed not just to the fasting, but to the deeper mind-body connection and connecting with the subconscious. That is how it is, I believe, possible to go to that level of calorie comfortably and feeling more confident at the same time. That is to find the balance. Again and again, re-exploring within ourselves. Through gratitude, find more gratitude.
Through that. Gratitude is the key. So I think we can hold the questions for now and we can, the people can directly connect with you, sir, because I think we're going overboard with the time. We can't get, over with the questions. So maybe we can schedule another session, Dr. Rachna and Dr. Chokalingam, whenever, or people can directly address you, whatever the questions they have.
Talk to you again.
All right.
Good luck.
All right.
We're glad to see all of you today.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Anand. Suchi,
All right.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Glad
night.
Anand you
Good
could
night,
make it.
everyone in
Thanks.
India.
Bye.